Hey, what it do, beautiful people? How are you all doing out there, you beautiful souls? Yes, praise be to be, baby. You already know these vibes. I'm here at KATZ Flow with Ep.3, where the mask becomes the person. So, welcome back, people. Welcome back to KATZ Flow. Now, if you caught the last episode, we pretty much talked about the facades people wear, the masks, the versions of themselves that they show the world versus who they really are underneath, right? But today I want to get a little deeper into that because the real question here isn't just why people pretend. The real question is, when did the pretending become who they are? When does the mask stop being a mask and start becoming the identity? A lot of people walking around today aren't necessarily trying to be fake. Like, let's keep it a buck here. Some of them just forgot who the fuck they are before they started the performance? So today we're going to be talking about how that happens, why it happens, and what it really costs people to live that way. So let's break it down the KATZ Flow way. Because masks just don't appear overnight. They really don't. There's a process to how people slowly become the version of themselves they perform. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Let's motherfucking clock that shit. So, where the mask starts. Most people don't start out as, it doesn't really start out as lies. They basically, I believe, they start off with a protection. Because, I mean, typically, and I'm speaking off of my personal experience and what I've been witnessing on my overall journey. So I feel like it starts off as protection. You know, Sometimes people learn early in life that being their fucking selves didn't get accepted. So maybe they got judged, maybe even misunderstood. Maybe they even got rejected. So, what do people do? What would you do? I know what I did. I adjusted as I do every day. That's what balance is about. You have to adjust. And this again is my personal information, my thought, my process. That's why I'm doing it my way, not taking the highway. But you feel me? Like at the end of the day, you do adjust. People typically shape themselves to fit into rooms, relationships, jobs, friendships, expectations. Little by little, they learn which version of themselves gets approval and which version gets pushed aside, which typically you're living on, kind of eggshells in a way if you think about it. Because, I mean, over time, that adjustment becomes a habit. Now, you learn what to say, you learn how to act, how to present yourself in ways that keep the peace or keep the acceptance. Typically, people want the acceptance because if that's going to give you true peace, I doubt it. And if you are at peace with the acceptance of what you got going on, then kudos to you, I guess. I don't know, but I can't live in the unknown or in that gray area, let's just say. You know, but to me, basically, the problem is the longer someone lives inside that adjustment, the harder it's going to become for them to remember who they fucking really were before they even started on this shit. And that's the sad part. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, but we here to check it. I'm here, in my own space, in my own, you feel me? So let's just jump into when the mask becomes the person. Here's where it gets deep. When someone performs long enough, eventually the performance, it kind of becomes their identity. They're no longer just putting on a mask when they walk into certain rooms. They actually become the mask. And sometimes it happens so gradually that they don't even realize it. Like, truthfully speaking, some people are so stuck on being on that and in their zone, supposedly, that they actually do fucking become the mask. And sometimes it happens to where you're just chasing validation, approval, attention, acceptance, whew, and the version of themselves that gets rewarded the most because the version they keep showing the world is what that mask is showing. It's not actually who they are. But that does come with a cost, maybe more than others to some, but it's to each their own here. I'm not here to judge. I'm not a professional. Um, Again, this is my personal experience and me on my own journey as I was one of these people many, many, many years ago, so I can understand where that mask starts to become you, or um, you don't even remember when you even disguised yourself to be adjusted into whatever situation, room, whether it be a relationship, friendship, and with your family, all of that, all those counterparts to become this version of yourself that may not even be you, but we're not here to judge it. We're here to understand it and clock it, and perhaps just look into the mirror and make that decision, you know? But here's when it gets deep. I feel that some people, instead of connecting with the real you know what I'm saying? They're connecting with the version of what you built, like your survival. Like, so now they're just basically surviving this shit. So I feel that's your deep dive right there. And that's why I'm like, let's get deeper with it. Because I want to continue to get deeper with this because I'm not pointing fingers at everybody. Like I said, I've experienced this myself. And that's why I want to go deeper into the cost of living behind this mask because it becomes exhausting. It's exhausting trying to maintain a version of yourself that isn't fully aligned with who the fuck you really are. Let's keep it a band here, man. Like, and the deeper the cost is, this just becomes you. You start attracting people who like the performance instead of the real person. So now relationships around you are built on something that isn't even real. And that's why some people can be surrounded by people and still feel completely alone. I'm pretty sure you guys heard people say that, or maybe even yourself say that, like, and you see them a bunch of people and you feel yourself perhaps that you be around a bunch of people, but you still feel alone. That's when you got to put yourself in that mirror and start taking that mask off because you've been adjusting for quite some time now. But again, nobody's actually getting to know who you are. You might have got lost in transition too by adjusting. So the only character here that was created was the one you created for the world. So if you got to take a little moment to get up and go in the mirror, or you have a mirror next to you, stare in that shit, look at that shit, and figure things out. Let's figure out how we drop in that mask. Why don't we? There comes a point in life where people start waking up to it. So it might not be just you, but your surroundings start waking up to the hype. Like, wait a minute, something ain't right. You might start feeling their energy and feel, wait a minute. They start realizing the mask doesn't fit anymore. I'm realizing that, like, they already had some type, like, when it comes to people looking in from the, from the perspective of themselves to you as a mask wearer, it's kind of like, because now I'm good, but now I'm looking at others like, take that mask off because that's not even you. Like, let's be the real you. I've seen you in many variations or whatever, whether it's a friend or not, or I've just come across things or have heard things. But at the end of the day, there does come a point, you know, maybe life forces you to grow, Maybe experiences shift your perspective, their perspective. Maybe they just get tired of carrying something that was never even truly them, you know? And that is where I adjusted myself so many years ago because, again, I was trying to live for others. I wanted to be accepted, I wanted people to like me. That's what truly people want at some point. And if you born where you don't give a fuck off rip, I would still question that, but at the end of the day, I think that you're protecting yourself, and that's great. So, like I said, there's no wrong or right here. I just want you guys to look in the mirror if anything just hit where, like, wow, okay, this is real transformation. This is where it begins, right here. Dropping the mask it's not gonna be easy. It isn't at all. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, especially if you've been adjusting for quite some time. Dropping that motherfucking mask is going to be almost impossible. But sometimes it means losing people, you know, who were comfortable with that version, um, that's used to performing, you used to performing. So, it's lucrative that you are becoming, like, this is your identity, But if we're going to start falling into that dropping the mask, part of your life, or the facade that you placed onto yourself, the act that you're putting, and you start realizing, wait a minute, or you start getting exhausted. If you're feeling exhausted and you have all these people around you and you feel exhausted and you feel alone, this is for you. You're on the spectrum of trying to transform yourself. And to be quite frank with you, that means standing in your truth, even when other people don't understand it. I'm going to repeat that again, because when you're on the spectrum of trying to change and you are finally realizing yourself or other people that you may have encountered that are these people, and you see that they stop pulling back or something, whatever the case may be, just understand that when you're standing in your truth, even when people don't understand it, you are vibrating to the highest frequency at is. And there's still room to grow, because you should be somebody that's a sponge, absorbing so much knowledge, keeping an open in mind. I said opening, but you know what I mean? Keep an open mind. Be transparent. Authenticity is just being authentic, original, authentic, and not putting that facade on. It just has a different kind of freedom attached to it. I mean, again, that's my opinion. It comes with freedom. It comes with, if you know, you know what I'm saying? And when you stop becoming and start performing, you actually start living. That's the that's where that came from. I actually feel one with myself, and I'm living my best life. In this point in my life, I'm 48. I'll be 49 in June. Yes, I'm a Gemini. But at the end of the day, you gotta take accountability, make those adjustments, sit with yourself, love being by yourself. Self-love will accomplish a lot for yourself and the people around you. It will open your eyes to better things, but you have to take the time and the diligence to do the work. It's not something overnight. You're going to sometimes fucking cry. You're going to be in the corner for maybe a month, maybe a week. Who the fuck knows? Everybody's journey is different. There is no time frame or timeline on healing yourself and unmasking yourself, trying to be the person that you were meant to be, not this facade. Stop living for the Joneses. Stop trying to fit in with motherfuckers that don't even pay your motherfucking rent or give a fuck about you or even support you. At the end of the day, you have to live with that. So I had to make that choice for myself. I had to do that. But I wanted to give you guys 3 rules. Okay. My number favorite is number 3. So I have the rule of 3 here for you guys. Before I wrap this episode up, I just kind of want to leave you guys with something that I call, again, my 3 simple truths about authenticity. Okay. Number 1 is, most masks start as protection. People adjust to themselves to survive certain environments, okay? So if you've been where, like I said, I don't want nobody to feel like I'm pointing a finger or I'm speaking to you directly because I don't know who's listening to this. I don't know if anybody will ever listen to this. At the end of the day, this is for me. This is my type of healing for myself. This is me healing myself while healing others if they get to hear this out and maybe question certain things that's going on in their life. But number two is perform long enough and the mask slowly becomes the identity. And it falls on it's all under this umbrella. The continuation of you going with pleasing others, that mask becomes who the fuck you are. It's like that movie, The Mask. You get it? If y'all haven't watched that, watch that. You know, that wasn't really him. And at the end of the day, he realized that it wasn't. And he was capable of doing all those things just being himself. I love that movie, and I'm very grateful that that thought came into my head because not too long ago I watched it with my grandkids, and I just wanted to give them that information that they may have gotten that I got. I got it when I watched it, but I got it more so when I started realizing I'm wearing a mask. I need to make some adjustments for myself. I see things, I something's not right. Whatever it was, I did it. But that movie gave me recent, like I said, I watched it again and I was like, wow, that resonated with me so much. And then I had a good conversation with my 8-year-old grandson Xavier, in which he's 8, but let me tell you, this boy has such an amazing mindset. But anywho, I don't want to get into that. But I just kind of wanted to let y'all know, like that movie would be a perfect example of something to relate or resonate with somebody that is looking to make those changes or maybe questioning themselves because now they're hearing this, you know? Um, but number three, you know, real freedom begins the moment you stop performing, like truthfully, and you start living as who you actually are. Now, keep in mind, because of the timeline of how long you've probably been wearing this mask or putting this facade on for whatever reasons, as for myself, it did take me a long time to feel that freedom. I still was on a healing path and semi there, but when you still care about what others think, it's still questionable and you're not fully in your freedom stage. But I promise you, you will get there. And you take the time you need to get there when you're ready, it starts with accepting and seeing the stuff that you want to change in your life. That's where it begins. Self-love is top priority and be selfish with yourself, you know? But I want to thank you guys for taking some time out your day to rock with me on this little um episode. And again, this is KATZ Flow, where we keep the conversations real as fuck. My perspective is always going to be my perspective and it's always going to be honest. And I'm always be intentional with my growth. You know what I'm saying? Because that's where I'm at. I want to show y'all and tell y'all this is part of me. Like I've been there, so I can speak from experience for myself and others, but I'm still on a journey, right? So as long as you're living as yourself or the version of you the world got comfortable with, you need to think about some things, you know? Basically, what I'm trying to get at is if anything in this episode or after watching the movie Mass resonated with you, take the moment, take yourself, put yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, am I living as myself or the version that I'm putting out to the world to be? And am I comfortable with this? Think about it. Truly think about it. Until next time, ladies and gents, boys and girls, my people, my not people, people that I'm generating. I appreciate you guys again. Drink y'all water, mind y'all business, stay humble, say hi, be nice, be safe out there, man. We ain't safe. So it doesn't matter your background or anything, where you come from. Believe in yourself. Be your number one cheerleader as I am for myself. I wouldn't be where I am today if I stayed in the headspace that I was when all my mishaps, I'm going to call, happened to me growing up, which little by little we'll step into those things. But if anything, go catch my book. I have a series on Amazon. It's called um, Healing Through Running. And it's my way of doing what I'm doing here on this podcast, but it's my story. So you guys can understand where I come from. So go grab that. And while you at it, grab book number 2. These are not hard copies. It is like Kindle based, or reading it online, until I go ahead and do a hardcover, for because I do want to do a hardcover, but I will. But I don't want to keep you guys too long. I know I babble on, but hey, this is KATZ Flow, and this is what the fuck I'm gonna do. But again, thank you for rocking out with me. I love you guys. Stay loved, stay blessed, stay merry, stay all that shit. Positive vibes only. Keep it a buck, keep it a band, and I'm out. Later, guys. Yeah, 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 yeah.